Talkulture. I am Kid Cadet, and look who's back!
Oh my God! Say what?
Welcome back, Miss Married Lady.
Oh my God! I'm married again. We got married last year, but now it feels official because we finally did the full reception and things, and of course, my fabulous best friend, Miss Kid Cadet, was able to be there with my fabulous other best friend, Jude, who was able to be there, and that just makes me so grateful. So, cheers.
Cheers.
That.
That is a very wicked drink. I love it. Well, I guess, guys, we are so excited to welcome him back. I don't know how many times he's been on our show, but let's welcome back the fantabulous Mr. Steve Gonsalves.
Oh, wow. It's quite an intro. I love your opening, too. Goodness.
Yes, I love the new, great, amazing, cool, new intro that we've got. Amazing job, Jude.
Very cool. Applause. And of course, Steve, you had to be part of our intro because you're such a big part of our Talkulture family. Welcome back once again. And to get started, we had a whole bunch of people message us and they're like, it was just Steve's birthday. So we wanted to wish you a very, 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 very happy birthday.
Thank you very much. It was a great birthday. Cheers.
Oh, well, is that Starbucks? What are you drinking?
Of course. Always Starbucks.
Always Starbucks.
But thank you, ladies. It's very nice of you. It was a great birthday. Spent it in Lexington, Kentucky with a bunch of great people. Tango, his wife, Lisa, and a lot of friends. So it was great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, that must be pretty rad having like a birthday around, the best time of the year. So.
Yes. And I tell you what, I was at a horror convention for my birthday and word got around that it was my birthday. So I got a lot of gifts. That's the place to have a birthday, is at a horror convention, because everything I got was horror related. Amazing stuff. Someone crocheted me a haunted mansion, a home. It was really beautiful. Anyway, sorry.
No, yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, we want to know. Okay, so haunted mansion crocheted thingy.
Yeah, it says "Welcome, foolish mortals." Has the wallpaper in the background, and really sweet, handmade, very nice young gal.
Man,
yeah,
people are fortunate. So creative, man. And especially at horror conventions. I was at a convention this past weekend too, horror related as well. And some of the stuff that you see in the artist alley, I'm just so blown away by people's creativity. It's insanity.
It's pretty nuts, honestly. People put a lot of, time and effort and work and heart and soul and love and dedication and all of that into, what they make and bring to these conventions. And you find that, especially at the horror conventions, a lot of those artists take their work very personal. It's like they put a piece of themselves in every single thing they make. And I don't know that you find that at like pop culture conventions or even some of the sci-fi conventions. I'm sure you do, but horror seems to be a very, specific audience. It's really awesome.
True. And the person that made that for you, Brittany, is chatting with us now, and they said it's from them, and it was a cross stitch, which is
good
epic.
Job.
Yeah, that's
so cool.
Epic.
What did I call it?
I think we said crochet.
Which
is fine too. I'm sure that would be wonderful as crocheted, but
but either way, it was beautiful. Thank you. It was quite a nice, and I got a lot of stuff. I don't mean to just point that one out, but people are very sweet. It always takes me by surprise.
Aw, you are loved by many.
Oh, goodness.
Well, we were talking about this a little bit before the stream, but what are some other conventions? Do you have anything else coming up?
Ooh, the only thing we have lined up right now, besides some stuff for 2022, we have in Vegas a convention called the Vegas Para Unity Convention, and it's a paranormal convention, but it's huge. Everybody you can think of that's been on a paranormal television show is there. Even like Josh Gates, not that he's paranormal. But adventure, and he does some paranormal, even like Kane Hodder. They have some horror people sprinkled in there.
Yes, love us some Kane Hodder. That's great.
Oh, he's the best. He's the coolest.
I always find it so fascinating too, like the puns and the names of these conventions, how people get so creative. Para Unity, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
It'll be fun though. It'll be a lot of fun.
I'm trying to see who's on your shirt because you always have the best wardrobe.
Oh yeah, you have the best shirts.
Nice. Oh, They Live?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Going for a little They Live.
That's right. An artist named Joel Robinson. Look him up. He's absolutely amazing.
Joel Robinson. Cool. Yay.
Yep.
All right. Danica, what you got?
So,
shout out Joel.
Yay. Shout out all the artists. So, of course, we have to talk about Broadway things. Very important.
Yeah.
So Broadway, yeah. So Beetlejuice will be in its new home in April, if we saw correctly. Big question is, are you going to be seeing it again? And what are your thoughts about it being in its new home?
Absolutely. I was one of those people that right at 10 a.m. October 1st, I was like, and I loaded up. I got tickets for opening weekend, got tickets for a few other weekends and a few days sprinkled here and there. I just kind of went crazy.
Well, you
so
gotta make
excited.
Sure you can see it. I mean,
yeah.
I know. I can't not just see it, but I feel like it's part of my DNA. Like I need to go every opportunity that I can. So I'm going to see it a bunch. And I know they haven't released the cast yet, but I think everybody's pretty hopeful that Alex Brightman will reprise his role. Will Blum, awesome too. Whoever it is, I'm sure it'll be fantastic. But Alex just kind of has a piece of my heart, not in a weird way, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he really slayed it. And like you said, I did see and I did hear some stuff with the other gentleman that was playing Beetlejuice as well, and he's fantastic. And I like that he did a different interpretation of it. It is not the same. And I like that's what's so cool about the role of Beetlejuice is, it is kind of choose how you want to do it. There's no set way. So,
yeah.
Absolutely. Super excited. I did get to see a show recently. My first show since Broadway reopened. I saw Little Shop of Horrors. It's off Broadway, but it was so good. It was so good.
That's I mean, one of
Danica
and my favorites, and I love the gentleman that's playing Seymour. How did you like Audrey? How did she do?
She was great. Acting was good. She didn't. What I kind of liked about it, which may bother some people, is that she didn't try to reinvent the role. She didn't try to do it. She was, exactly how you would expect. The same voice. I mean, I don't know if she has that raspy voice when she talks, but singing, she nailed it. I thought it was awesome. The singing voice for the Audrey too was outrageously good. I thought it was a track. Like I didn't think it was somebody actually singing. He sounded so good. But then he comes out at the end, in his suit, and he's like, and then they're like, holy shoot, that is, a live person back there. It's pretty crazy.
Holy shoot.
Holy shit.
I'm sure he's not more. But
kids show.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, one of the other things, like, I don't know about all the conventions, but some Comic-Cons will do shadow casts, especially of Rocky Horror. And this past weekend, there was a shadow cast for Beetlejuice. So I thought that was pretty neat. Beetlejuice the Musical.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you take any pictures? Did you?
No, I didn't really get to, no. And it's not. Yeah, it's not like they're playing it behind them, but they were doing a pretty big production of it, and it was a female Beetlejuice. So yes, I'm into it. Appreciate that. But yeah, okay. So Broadway, we're very excited. So okay.
Well, there's one other thing. So
go.
When this comes to Broadway, I highly recommend, Steve, that you see it. So I am seeing this in Chicago. It is about to go to Broadway soon, and my pup is whining about something. Who knows? But it is a show called Paradise Square.
Paradise Square. I don't know of it. My goodness.
So it is beginning in Chicago. I believe next weekend is starting previews and everything. So I am actually fortunate enough that I will be going up to Chicago next week or the week after that, something, in order to see the show, because my friend is the lyricist for that show. And this is the first time I've been able to see a show of his. He's the same guy that did the lyrics for Tuck Everlasting and for Amelie.
Ooh,
so
no
I'm
big
like,
deal.
This is right.
No big
This is
deal.
the first time I've been able to see one of his shows, and I'm really excited. And everybody is talking it up like crazy. The music is, of course, genius. So I have to recommend, as soon as that goes to Broadway, get a ticket.
What's it called? I'm going to be really rude, but I need to write this down.
Paradise
what is it called?
Square.
Paradise Square.
Not circle. Square.
Not circle. Square.
Yes. Paradise Square.
Yes.
I'm in.
Fantabulous. Well, Steve, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Ghost Hunters, Ghost Nation, all of the above, all of the wonderfulness. And so now, being back to Ghost Hunters, what would you say are the biggest differences between this, the old Ghost Hunters, and Ghost Nation? Oh, there it is. How fabulous.
Whoa,
returning
look at that.
On
watch the trailer.
31st.
Even the trailer is such a good teaser.
Thank you. We're going to put out a few more trailers this week. I'm pretty sure you'll see a lot more popping up, and there'll be some good people will get some sneak peeks and different things. I'm learning that with the new streaming service, like linear television, actual television what airs live, or not live, but airs as it's supposed to. Everything comes up saying, don't forget this is happening, this is happening. But in the streaming world, everything happens once it's already there. And you're telling the people, go see this now. It's not a don't forget. So leading up to it, people will see a lot more sort of sneak peeks and different, they call them assets, but that's, I don't know, that's I guess an internal jargon word. I just call it a trailer preview, whatever, they'll see a lot more of that. And yeah, it's going to be really cool. The differences, that's a great question. Ghost Nation was awesome and very, very close to us. Obviously, it was a personal show, very much so, where, when we went into it, we made sure that we don't want to leave these places until, we actually have, the case finished. We bring it to fruition, whether that takes a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, doesn't matter. We're there for that amount of time. And that was awesome, but with Ghost Hunters, it was a little bit different. It was more sort of a preliminary investigation. And then once we moved on from that, it was sort of just like, we handed it off to a local team or a local TAPS team. We have TAPS teams all over the country, all over the world, actually. But, to sort of do what we call aftercare, where now, we're taking that sort of mission statement from what we brought with the other show and incorporating it into this. We're not leaving these places until we are actually helping people. And with the original Ghost Hunters, it became very much the the pursuit to get the best piece of evidence that will change everybody's mind. The pursuit to get this, where we're really focusing on the people and what's happening. But what's nice about Ghost Hunters is we get to really sort of spread our wings, if you will. Ghost Nation, private residences a lot. We're helping people towards the end with COVID and everything. We had to start getting into some bigger places because it was hard to get into people's homes. But on Ghost Hunters, it's that open format where we can go to people's houses, help them, but we can also do places like asylums and all these big, awesome places. That's a lot of fun for investigators. But, we were going to do another season of Ghost Nation. Luckily, Travel Channel and Discovery Plus, they are absolute, and I'm not saying this just because I work for them, but they are absolute dreamboats of people. They really are. You expect, people in suits barking orders, but, it's all just hugs and kisses and laughter. And they're very, very sweet people. And they actually sort of gave us the option, and I'm not sure if I'm supposed to really say this too much, but when they, came up to us with this idea, they said, hey, this is, something that we could do, but we're not going to do it or sign it unless it's you guys. We're not going to let them recast it. We're not going to. So you let us know. Do you want to do this or do you want to? So it was we did some soul searching and some back and forth, and we decided Ghost Hunters would be, the best route to go, just because it was, ours for 15 years, and then whatever happened, and Ghost Nation was amazing, and that landed us a new home, but now Ghost Hunters. Yeah. Thanks. That was a long answer to a short question, but
no, that was
Good
wonderful. And I love like everyone in the comments, and I couldn't agree more. I couldn't think of a possible better way to spend Halloween that, it's going to be on the surface that day. I think that's wonderful. As we I don't know how to say this because like I hate to think that I can't just go out and go trick-or-treating like how I used to. And so like as I get older, I like to find new traditions. And like it seems like starting this year, I have a new tradition. And so it's exciting,
Thanks. I'm a part of that tradition now.
You're part. Yeah. You're starting it. Yeah. So
thanks.
Yes. Hell yeah.
That's actually really awesome. Someone who loves Halloween, it's always meant a lot to me that people, especially when we're doing the live shows, because we would do them live on Halloween. So our Halloween was work, not complaining. It's great work and a lot of fun. But through that, we would have just tons of people saying, you're my Halloween, you're my Halloween. So to be somebody else's sort of what they do on Halloween really means a lot. It's quite special, honestly. It's pretty effing cool.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I'm going to keep going on this line of questioning, but so we've all become really familiar with all of you, with you and Jason and Tango and Sherry, but we've all kind of formed our own thoughts of what we think everybody brings to the table. But what would you say are everybody's individual strengths that you separately bring to the table that makes you such a strong team?
Wow, Danica, that's quite a loaded question. Holy. Let's see.
What have you done?
We definitely all bring, different strengths to what we do. I would say, we'll start with Jason. Of course, without him, I don't think any of us would be doing this in the television world. So he is somebody that we all hold in high regard, and he's obviously the most valuable part of our team. And he brings, it may be weird to say, but he brings strength, I would say, and that, to use a Disney term, stick-to-itivity, is that what he says, or whatever it is? We're like, yes, thank you. But like, not thinking everything is a ghost. Not everything is, and he's somebody in my early days, like I worked with the Warrens for quite some time, and when I was working with them, orbs or ghosts, a lot of different things were considered paranormal, and honestly, he was the one that really got me to push forward and not think that everything, and to really take it not just to the next level, but a few levels to say, whoa, what could it really be? Let's figure this out. And he's the first one to help out with anything. I could be looking at this, what is this thing? And he'll just grab it and be like, look, and then hand it back to me, and like, that's pretty awesome. Sometimes I may just stand next to him looking bewildered, hoping he'll do that, because I know he'll just grab it and fix whatever. But anyway, Tango, I say this, and he probably thinks I'm kidding, because I do say it to him too, but Tango's kind of a genius. His brain works in ways that other people's don't. Mine certainly doesn't. He has a different way of looking at things, a different way of figuring things out. And whenever I need advice with anything in life, and I mean it, anything, he's who I go to. And whether it's the paranormal, whether it's relationships, whether it's just life experience questions, advice, he's my dude. So like, he brings that to every investigation too, just that next level of thought and figuring skills. He's at a high level where some, myself included, may not excel in that area. And of course, with the tech business, he's just the best there is. Sherry, she is somebody who, one thing I really like about her is kind of nothing's a ghost. Like it could be right in front of her, and she's kind of like, is it? But I love that, because having that skeptical mindset not being a skeptic, because skeptics have an agenda. They don't believe and they don't want other people to believe. So they have an agenda behind what they're doing. But to have a skeptical mindset, I think is quite valuable. And she has that they call that spades, in spade, or I don't even know what that phrase is. Who knows? I need to stop using
spade is a spade?
Whatever it is, she has that in bundles. And that's really cool. And, she works her bum off, which is great. By the time I get to one camera, she has 4 set up. And so when you're, wiring places like Waverly Hills and all these huge asylums, you need someone like that, quite honestly. And, aside from her, with the rest of the team, you'll see Amy and Adam quite a bit. You'll see Dustin quite a bit, and maybe even some other surprises. When it comes to myself, I don't want to say that I bring anything to the team that nobody else does, because we're all kind of scientifically minded, but I try to keep in mind things like, if it disobeys the laws of science, I am, misinterpreting the experience, or it's in my head, like a telephonic or audiophonic sound or visual, that sort of thing. But I think I bring that to it. For instance, we had theories all the time that limestone and quartz would hold energy, or maybe even be able to use like a cell. So I didn't want to just take that as paranormal theory. I went and talked to 20 physicists and got all of the real deal answers. And they told us, like, limestone, maybe a little bit, but quartz for sure can hold energy and release it at certain times. And even, we threw around different theories that running water could work as a bit of a, so I went to these physicists to get so we're not just, running around in circles, chasing our own tails and pretending things are what they aren't, and they all said that's not possible. The earth can't create its own charge. It's a law of science. So that's out the window. But learning from that, they did say, all of them, that if there was a body of water that was struck by lightning in such a way, maybe a few times, that body of water could hold a charge for a short period of time. So if there is an inlet or an outlet to that body of water, perhaps some of it could get somewhere. But other than that, I'd say that's sort of what I love in that field, is trying to sleuth it out. I'm no scientist by any stretch of the imagination, and I would never insult anybody in the scientific community by pretending. I only regurgitate what I've read and learned through people who are much smarter than I am. But it's important to know the facts. In this field, there are no facts, but in science, there are. And the thing about science is, whether you believe in it or not, it's true. You can accept or not, but that doesn't matter. Like, it's true regardless. So you might as well accept it. It's not a subjective truth. It's objective. It is. That's it. But
and we appreciate that, how much we can learn from your learning as well. So because it's all fascinating, and it's all, all these things, that the theories that you test and that you put into practice, and we go, oh, okay, we get it now.
Sleuth it out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Sleuth it out.
Sleuth it out. Put that on a hat.
Marketing.
Sleuth it out.
Next time you see me at a convention, I'll have a whole sleuth it out, all these shirts behind me, and a line out the door.
Amen. Oh, yes. Danica and I will be the first to purchase. So one of the other things I wanted to ask about was, in addition to being on the show, you're also a producer. So I wanted to know, what can you tell us about being part of the production of the show as well?
Yeah, it's quite important, honestly, to be able to have your fingers in that side of things. And it just allows for, the difference is, if you're on a TV show and you're a cast member, you get there and everything is there, and you don't know what you're going to do. Like, you don't know what's going to be said. But there are already tentpole things that are set out for you, where, being involved as a producer, you get to help, create what is going into it. You get to help nuance it. For instance, we're talking about, and I'll just give you a quick for instance, We're talking about different things that might be in a basement under this subflooring, and so if I were to just be on the cast side of things, I would show up and say, okay, cool, this is the basement, let me see what I could. But being on the producer side, I could say, well, why don't we get an archaeological historian in there to really see what the and that, so you get to nuance things in that regard. We also get to see cuts of the episodes before they air, where if you're a cast member, you have it just goes to air and that's it. You just are along for the ride, good, bad, or in between. But being able to see it, and that's important too, because you'll catch things, and it's, if you're not in the field, you're not really going to know. So we may be talking about, I grabbed my EMF gauge, this and that, but they'll show, a little B-roll shot of a laser grid. I'm like, hey, that's not a laser grid. We're like, if we weren't watching the cuts, that may slip through, and then the audience would think that this EMF gauge is actually a laser grid, like that kind of thing. So there is a lot of value to it, and it's good. It's really cool. It's hard to get to that level where they'll consider you a producer and give you that credit and let you have that feedback. But it's definitely valuable for the shows. Absolutely.
Awesome. Before we go to your question, Danica, there's a couple people asking about your film and if there is possibly going to be a follow-up for The House in Between or anything like that.
That's a great question, and thank you. The documentary, we put it out maybe 2 years now. No, it was last year. I want to say not the May that just passed, but maybe the May before that. I forget. I'm sorry. But it was I mean, my mission there was to tell a story of Alice so that she can get real world answers, real deal answers for what's happening there. And really, the success of the documentary didn't really matter to me at that moment, because I didn't, that was just my but in terms of performance, luckily it did quite well. And is there going to be a part 2? I will say there will be a continuation of the story, and maybe what has happened in her world, and but whether that's a documentary, whether that's just written word, or even just a podcast, we'll see. But there'll be some announcements in regards to where that is headed. Some of the most beautiful people in my life live there in Mississippi. So, any chance I can get to go there. Mary Alice Heydrich, who's the historian in that movie, just the sweetest lady. I think she's 97 now. But we just hug and kiss, and like, oh, she's such a, not kiss, but you know what I mean. Like she's such a dreamboat of a woman, and she's become very, very close to me. And same with Alice and Brad and John and everybody there. They'll be in my life forever, documentary or not. They're my friends, and that's it.
That's awesome.
A good experience, and I'm going to Vegas in December, and I'm going to try to swing down and stop in Mississippi and see them all on my way out there.
That's great. People want to know, where's the best place to watch your documentary?
Oh, well, that depends on the people. Like, for instance, if you have Amazon Prime, it's free there. If so you might as well watch it there. But if you don't have Prime, you can see it anywhere that you watch movies, except for like Netflix. That's a different, that's a licensing type of deal that could come in the future. But in terms of if you're going to, watch a movie, it's everywhere. The Amazon, the PlayStation, the Xbox, the Apple, iTunes, all of that. Even some stations are airing it, or you could buy it, like in Walmarts and Best Buys, all that stuff.
That's awesome. Man, I miss those days of like going to the store and like just purchasing all the CDs, all the movies. I need to get back into doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to do it through Target. I still try to cruise the $5 movies at Target. Big time. because it's the closest I can get to going to Blockbuster.
I know. Oh God, I can't. I'm gonna get too nostalgic. That's a whole
or Hollywood Video. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Whoa, Hollywood Video. My goodness.
Blockbuster wasn't the only game in town.
That's true.
Competition's key.
And they're both dead now. So let's move on to a very important question, of course. How are you celebrating your Ghosttober?
Oh, that's a great question. I will be tuned in to Discovery Plus all month long, especially on Halloween. Aside from that, I think I'm going to go hang out with my nephews for a little bit on Halloween, and then probably meet up with some friends in the evening. I haven't decided if it'll be like a bar or a party. I'm kind of not really in the mood for a house party, but been invited to a few of those.
I'm trying to figure it out too. I have no idea. I have this brilliant costume and no idea what to do.
Well, go show it off wherever it can be seen. They're like live next to Salem, and that used to be the thing to do. You know, you go to Salem for Halloween, and I love that, obviously, but they're kind of curmudgeons now about it. You know, they make everybody get off the streets by like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. You have to be inside a structure. All the bars are closing early, and it's just not what it used to be. They used to embrace it, and it was like a whole block party in the whole city until like 4 a.m, but they're not into that anymore.
I get it. People want to sleep at a normal hour. Like, I understand.
I guess so. Just move out of Salem. You know what it's all about. Get out.
Amen.
Know where you live. Come on.
We'll move in. Y'all move out. You know,
like you clearly, we all know where you live, and you live there for a reason. So let's party.
Yeah,
that's right. Fair. Let's party. Well, 1 night a week. That's all we ask. I mean, a year. 1 night a year.
A week.
1 night a week, if you're Steve. So one of the other things, you had posted a Ghosttober survey, and Danica and I were reading through a couple of the things, and you had mentioned that you enjoy studying demons. So is there a particular case that you find most fascinating, and what signs should we look for if we think that we spot a demon?
Those are all very good questions. You know, I don't think I have a favorite specific story or, you know, a case. There was a case quite some time ago that the Warrens studied with a Portuguese fella. And when I was like 17 or 18, they showed me the video. Not just me, it was a group of like 10 or 15 of us. And you could still see that video sometimes. I think John Zaffis has a copy of it, but you could literally see this guy's like head splitting open and blood trickling down and like really weird, awful stuff. But I do have some favorite, you know, investigators, demonologists, people who I follow their work. One of them certainly being John Zaffis, you know, who's Ed Warren's nephew. And he's just so well versed and smart in that it's his whole world. You know, Adam Bly is somebody I respect quite deeply, and he has some material out there you can read. And he's actually one of very few who actually do exorcisms and things like that for the church. He actually right now is traveling and teaching priests how to do, you know, demonic research and work and he's doing that through the church. It's pretty dang awesome. Carl Johnson is somebody I admire quite a bit. He's another person that digs into the demonology side of things there. Those three, I think it would be the, you know, Reverend, one thing, and, you know, Reverend Billy Bean is someone, he's a gentleman we work with, and I don't think he considers himself a demonologist necessarily or somebody, but he's on, you know, the religious side of it, the other side of it, the angelic side. And he has a tremendous amount of knowledge in that regard. And we actually had him come in on a case once, the saddest case ever. I want to talk about because I get a little crazy, but he came in and the house was honestly like really gross and not aesthetically, but just feeling and awful, and you could just tell. And when he came in and he did his whole thing there, I'd never experienced this before, but it was a tangible difference, like in the home. Even the camera crew, and these are guys who and girls who don't even believe in or care about the paranormal. They're just there to document us, and they would even walked in and were like, holy shoot, like what is going on here? I want to, like, smell flowers and watch, Disney movies. Oh, it's a completely different, vibe and feel. So he's somebody that I have a lot of respect for as well, but he's not necessarily a demonologist. When it comes to signs, there are some what they call tells, if you're dealing with something inhuman, or, demonic falls under the old, what we consider an inhuman type of haunting, something that was never on earth in living form, like a human, something that is just energy based. You can call them demons, you can call them whatever you want. There's a lot of different terms for them. But one thing that they like to do is make it uncomfortable for the living, people who are there in the space, or they want to conduct their, whatever they're doing, their evil bidding, or whatever it is. And you will get things like temperature fluctuations, just like you see in the movies, right? But it's usually really, really quick and instant. So it'll go 80 degrees to like 10 degrees to, and it'll happen instantly. It won't just come, and it's trying to make you uncomfortable, trying to get you out of that space. You'll smell sulfur. That's very common. Sulfur, burning flesh is very, very common. Feces. Yeah, you'll smell feces. You'll smell vomit. Just everything that could be vile to a human, they're doing to get you out of there, out of that situation. And that's one of the things that we, pick up on. If there is something, and all of a sudden we're smelling sulfur and, like, human excrement, and we shouldn't be, we kind of might start to look that there's something else going on. Also, when it comes to inhuman and demonic type of, activity, there seems to be a pattern where it goes through, almost, there are some researchers who have boiled it down to 5 different stages. And it usually starts off kind of slow, goes up, hits a crescendo, and then sort of tapers down and then stops for nobody knows for how long. Sometimes it's just a few days, sometimes it's years and years. And then it starts up again, and then, gets extreme, and then will stop. And so that's another thing we try to look for, is that sort of roller coaster of activity and the intensity of the activity. But those are all things that, seems to be a tell. But that's just me. Again, there are no facts here. It's just patterns recognized in research. There are a lot of researchers and investigators who, think they can tell right away, and think that the demon is telling them their name, and that they can get, and that may be true. But I don't have that experience.
Oh God, that sounds terrifying. Like, that is not something I ever hope to experience. Nope. And yeah. What about the idea that most of them talk in Latin? Is that like a common thing?
Yeah.
Or is that, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily have to be Latin. It can be a lot of different languages. It's usually, but Latin is quite popular. There's an investigator, very close friend, and a dreamboat of a human. His name's Chris Fleming, and but he has taught me a lot when it comes to the demonic side of things, and he's even helped me through some things that have happened to me, and understanding it. And he's someone I respect and look up to quite a bit. He was on a show called Dead Famous for quite some time, and now has a few shows here and there. But he's a psychic researcher, and just very, very smart, very sharp, and just one of the nicest guys. So if anybody is looking to dive into that world, those are the guys I would look to. Chris Fleming doesn't consider himself a demonologist, but he's very, very well versed in that world. And even when it comes to spiritual warfare, he's very well versed and on that front line.
Wow. Because I was just wondering, I was like, okay, are the demons just trying to keep a dead language alive? I'm like, maybe they're just like, no one's speaking Latin, so they figured they would. I don't know.
Yeah, the mechanics, like why would it be that? What maybe I'm sure there could be some literature out there that has reasons for it, but to say definitively, I think it would just be guesswork.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, Danica, one more question, then we'll go to the game.
All right, I'm gonna switch gears on you. So, which horror film, if you were in it, do you think you would survive the longest?
Whoa, my gosh. These questions. Which horror movie?
Spooky Halloween time.
I would have to say maybe Dawn of the Dead. Because those slow moving, once you figure out, and I've seen enough zombie movies to know you just got to sort of stay ahead of the pack, that kind of thing, and don't become complacent. If you become complacent, that's when you get bit, all of that stuff. I'd have to say either probably Dawn of the Dead. Yeah.
Great film.
Oh, God have mercy. It's one of the best. Ooh. I mean, there's some things that I wish weren't in there. There's maybe some racial slurs and that sort of thing.
Yes, that is a thing.
Yes. And not to, George Romero says it's, to shed light on it, to make it, to show that it's more egregious. He's one of the first people to use that kind of language to show like, hey, this is shocking and stupid. You shouldn't be like this. But it's still, when I watch that movie, I don't like to hear that.
Yeah, that's not, yes.
But it's still a good movie.
That it is. And I will take those type of zombies over some of these newer ones where they're running and having relationships. I mean, I guess you got to do what you got to do. So
yeah, I feel like I'd do well in like the Shaun of the Dead world where it's like, you can blend in by just, you just got to do the right vocal work, Yeah.
Just fit right in. Or like in The Walking Dead when they just cover themselves in all the gook and like, imagine what that smells like. Oh, God.
No thanks.
Yeah,
no. Alrighty. Well, let's go to the game.
That was fun.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this has been, man.
I like that question.
Yay. Well, okay. So this is our game of Would You Rather. Obviously, there's no wrong answer. So let's just get to it. Danica, do you want to read the first one?
All right. Would you rather direct a music video for Ghost, the band, or play drums for Slipknot at Knotfest?
Whoa, that's a great question. As much as I love Slipknot and I feel like my stamina right now they would probably laugh me off the stage and I wouldn't want to do that to them. So I'd go with direct a music video for Ghost. I think that would be really cool. But, playing drums and Slipknot for a show would be pretty dang dope too.
Man, I just saw them a week ago. It's like they put on a show like nothing else. And just all the drummers in Slipknot are incredible. My favorite is when Clown plays the keg. That is just a moment. Oh, so good. If you guys have a chance to go to a Knotfest, go to a Knotfest. All right, here's the next question. Would you rather eat a spider, eat a scorpion? Ugh.
This is the worst question I've ever been asked in my life.
Yeah, this is from Danica.
Danica, I would just take instant death over each of those.
Let's preface this with, excuse me, ma'am. There are delicacies in some places. You can fry them. You can do all kinds of fun things with them.
I would, maybe spider because it would be a familiar taste. They say it tastes like crab and lobster mixed with like gunpowder a little bit.
Whereas
everybody who eats them, like the tarantulas, they say that back, and they literally call them crab and lobster spiders of the ocean, and part of that is because they have such a similar profile, in terms of taste. But a scorpion, whenever you hear somebody eating that, they always just say it's just bitter, gross, gnarly, slimy, gross, nasty. Nobody's ever like, oh, it's kind of like lobster.
Okay.
So I'd probably go with a spider. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lovely. All right. Next one, Danica.
That's awful. How dare you? What about you guys? Hold on.
Okay. Okay, so I would have to know what kind of spider. But I will not go near a scorpion, so it's 100% going to be spider. It's going to be spider.
Well, I think now, based on what I've just heard from clearly all the research that Steve's done, I think I'm going to go with spider.
Yeah. Okay. But like tarantula would freak me out if it was like that kind of spider. If it's like a situation where
like
we're
little bite size.
Yeah, like, or blended, like maybe a blended, I don't know. I'm thinking fear factor.
Spider smoothie.
I don't know.
You're disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would do what I had to do. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, next one.
These are some of my favorite things I've ever seen so far. So we have a fabulous choice. Would you rather dress up as Juice Demon?
Juice Demon? What?
Creepy husband. Clearly.
What is happening?
Or my favorite translation of all time, Pubescent Frog of Silent War.
Is this just because they didn't want to pay like for the licensing?
Oh yeah, that is correct.
100%.
Creepy husband. That's what they call that's Gomez Adams, right?
Yes.
I'd probably go with the creepy husband because he looks kind of dapper and I'd go for that.
He's a dapper lad. But like here's my thing, right? Why not go spooky husband?
Creepy husband makes it sound like there's something way more wrong than we think.
Yeah.
Creepy has different connotations.
Yes.
So
it's true. He's trying to sleep with the girl down the street. Is what's going on. That's what that creepy husband's doing. He's like, when that husband goes to work, I'm going to her house.
I mean, look at that mustache. It tells you everything you need to know.
All right, it's a good choice. It's a good choice.
You don't want to be a pubescent frog of Silent War?
No.
I mean, what's the Silent War part about? I don't even understand that.
And that was my argument was, they have a word for ninja and it's ninja.
Right.
But I guess even ninja is licensed. So,
I mean, it could say dress up as a pubescent ninja frog, maybe. I don't know.
Apparently, ninja's taken.
Yeah, can't do that, and so we have to just go with frog instead of turtle, shelled creature. I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know any frogs that have shells. First of all,
maybe there's no shells.
So anyway, problems here.
Here's the next one. Would you rather?
I mean, it's a turtle. It's like. Okay, I'm sorry. I just put that together somehow. That it's not even a. They don't even call it a turtle.
Amphibian. I don't know. Okay. Would you rather do a Ghost Hunters crossover with Dinerous, Drive-Ins, and Dives, or a crossover with Property Brothers?
That's a great question. Wow. I'd have to say Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives just because I could throw down some cheeseburgers and all kinds of stuff while I'm there. Some milkshakes, everything that's delicious in life. Whereas Property Brothers, I'm sure they're super fun and awesome, and we're part of the same umbrella now. Actually, I'm with all these people. We all work for the same network. But I feel like I'd have more fun on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. But I have heard the Property Brothers are super nice dudes, so that could be fun too.
See, I feel like if you're driving around with Guy Fieri, I feel like you can, first of all, he has an awesome car. And I feel like all the different locations you go to, you can see which one's, spooky, or if there's anything haunting one of the locations. I don't know. And like you said, you're on the same network. So
that's right. I mean, there are so many haunted restaurants. It's almost ridiculous.
Yeah. Danica, I thought you said haunted tater tots. Is that what you said?
I said jukebox, but I like haunted tater tots.
Okay.
I would definitely eat those.
Yeah.
Haunted jukebox.
How haunted they are, I will eat some tater tots.
Delish. All right. We got a couple more, Steve. What's next?
All right. Let's see. Yes. Date a zombie or date a vampire?
Ooh, zombie. Excuse me. No. I date a vampire because zombies are going to have they're just going to smell awful and, be rotting. At least a vampire, most likely they shower. Most likely after they drink blood, they're going to wash their teeth, brush their teeth. Right. That sort of thing. So I'd say date a vampire. And I mean, just on, not that I would ever date anybody based on looks, because that obviously we all know is very selfish, or just not selfish, but just a bad way to do things. But that doesn't hurt. That she would be not rotted.
So not someone with putrefied skin. Got
Yeah,
it.
that's I'll skip necrosis for now. Like, let's
For
just.
now. Okay.
Unless I can get like early onset zombie, if that's a thing. Like, if I could date an early onset zombie before it all goes downhill, maybe.
Okay.
But I think a vampire would be kind of fun. Yeah, and I feel like they would be a little more like fun,
Hygienic?
and hygienic for sure, but a little more fun. Like if you're dating a zombie, you're just gonna like
You're just hunting for brains.
No.
Right, and like they're just gonna limp over to the bed and just get in there. Like a vampire's, they're gonna have some fervor behind it.
I love that you approach this like as a hygienic question. That's the first time I've ever seen anyone take this question that way, and I respect it very much.
Yes,
very much.
Vampires using mouthwash. A zombie is just rotting. It's
there you go, guys. There it is.
Good point.
Okay.
It's so dumb.
We're all learning from you.
Oh, I'm so crazy. I'm losing my job.
I don't think that there's any
Highly
zombies
doubt.
watching right now that are going to write in and be like, Steve said the petrified flesh was, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. I guess this one's me. Okay. Would you rather own the Amityville house or the Poltergeist house?
That's a good one. I would like to own the Amityville house just so I can investigate it and say, most investigators are under the impression, just from knowing people who lived in the house, knowing that it's, just a bit of Hollywood hubbub in that regard. But it would be awesome to investigate it and really see what's up there. We've tried many times. I remember one of our executive producers back in the early Ghost Hunters days actually went to the Amityville house and knocked on the door because they wouldn't return phone calls and all that stuff. And they told us that they didn't want to perpetuate that stereotype anymore, so they turned us down. But then they opened up the house for like a Halloween haunted house walkthrough thing. I was like, well, I don't know. That was really confusing. But I'd have to say the Amityville house. Poltergeist house would be cool. I like that modern split level kind of thing.
Ditto.
But
yeah. Okay.
Go for the Amityville house. Not to mention resale value is probably much better.
Fair. All right. Appreciate the resale value. All right. Next, location. All right. Danica?
Oh, yes. Would you rather listen to Halloween by the Misfits on repeat for 24 hours or listen to Pet Sematary by the Ramones for 24 hours?
Halloween by the Misfits, 24 hours. Oh, I mean, the Ramones are great, but Misfits, that's sort of in my heart. So, yeah.
I'm on your side.
Yes. I do love Pet Sematary, though.
I mean,
I kind of love that song very much. Yeah. Okay. 2 more, Steve. Here we go. Would you rather open a paranormal museum of haunts or have a graphic novel made based off taps?
Oh, that's a pretty interesting question. Opening a paranormal museum is always something that investigators think of doing. So it'd be cool. They're fun to go through and look at and that sort of thing. But there are a few that are out there, obviously, at a pretty high level. But having a graphic novel, actual stories based off of us and a series that could keep going, I think would be a lot of fun for all of us. I'll go for that because it would include me and my friends and what we do, and it would be fun as a shared experience where if I open a paranormal museum, it's just going to be for me, and people to come and, I think the other one would be a better pursuit. I kind of, not that I have a museum of haunts, but my house does have a tremendous amount of haunted stuff in it and things that you would think would be haunted. And so maybe I can just have my friends come over, like walk around and stuff.
Yeah. Take the graphic novel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that'd be fun. I'll leave the museum up to the professionals who actually want to curate things and know about, the inner workings of, because if you're going to open a museum, you got to know the lineage, you got to know the history, you got to know all of that. I know some don't. There are a few out there who just grab stuff and put them, do whatever. But the majority of them want their, I's dotted and their T's crossed and all that stuff.
And you got to make sure that things stay put where they're supposed to be.
Like that's right.
In glass and never allowed out ever again.
That's right.
So,
yep.
All right. Final one. Danica, take it home.
All right. Oh, yes. Would you rather do a paranormal investigation with no vision or do a paranormal investigation with your hearing impaired?
Ooh, just for safety's sake, I would say I would rather do it with hearing impaired, because I won't fall and kill myself. I won't fall downstairs. I won't do any of that stuff. One of our dearest friends on the planet, who's one of our camera operators on a case recently, fell through the stairs and landed in the basement and has to have surgery now. Very awful. Yeah. And he's someone very, very, very close to me and Tango. And he's one of our best friends. Very, very sad. Hearing, you also want that, but I feel like having your vision will probably service you much better in an investigation than, not being able to hear.
Wow. Well, sending, a lot of positive, quick healing vibes to your friend, and hopefully they'll recover.
That's terrifying.
Quickly.
That's horrible.
Thank you. That's right. His name's Mitch. He's the coolest.
Well, Mitch, the
Speedy
coolest.
recovery, Mitch.
Yes. Really quick before we do wrap this up, Steve, I hope this is okay to ask, and I hope it's not too triggering, but somebody wanted to know what it is about spiders that are for you.
I gotta go. How do I X out of this?
No, okay. And if you don't want to talk about it, then it's absolutely fine. You have to talk
completely
about it.
kidding. No, I don't really know. It's something that has always been there ever since I can remember. I see one, and I just go bonkers. Something else takes over, and I just start screaming. It's the most embarrassing thing ever, but it happens. I've read many, many, many times that phobia, because it is a phobia. Well, actually, no, it's not. I have a fear of spiders, but I have a phobia of flying. There's a bit of a difference. Like a fear, you're just afraid of things. It gets considered a phobia when it stops you from doing something you would do otherwise, right? Then it becomes a phobia. So obviously not being able to fly stops me from a lot of life activities that I would do otherwise. I still power through the spider thing. So I think that's just a fear, but I have read many, many times that it comes from when you're in the womb. It's like it develops there, and it may be passed down like genetically, that sort of thing. Yeah, very, very strange, because babies are born afraid of spiders, and it's one of the only things that they're born innately afraid of. Kind of strange, right?
Oh, I've never heard that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. Very, very fascinating.
And you're not alone in your fears and phobias. I mean, look, there are trains and automobiles to get us places, cruises, ships, ferries, and
bicycles.
Bicycles are fun too.
Bicycles. All right. I'm gonna get on my pedal bike down to Disney next time.
Right? But please dress like Pee Wee Herman if you're gonna do that. So.
Ooh, I will. My bike, Pee Wee.
Now I need to watch
Rabbit Hole
Adventure.
It's so good. It's so good.
Classic. Well, Steve, thank you so much. As always, this has been an absolute joy. And of course,
thank you.
One more time, we have to plug, guys, on Halloween, make sure to tune in to, there's the graphic.
There it is.
Ghost Hunters returns on Halloween. So make sure you guys watch.
Halloween.
Ooh. So Steve, before we do wrap this up, is there any final thoughts you want to leave us with here?
Yes. Have a great Halloween, everybody. Kids, check your candy, even if your parents don't get to it first. Don't sneak any, I used to do that, sneak some candy before my parents could check them. There could be something crazy in there, Have a good, safe Halloween. Dress up, have fun. And thank you, everybody. I think you'll really like what's coming up. Of course, we have the Halloween special on Halloween, October 31st. And it's going to be, it is. I've seen it. It's really, really, really awesome. And all of the episodes this season, we've caught some really, really intense things, and been a lot of fun with some of my best friends. So thank you for letting me talk about it.
Well, thank you for joining us
so
again.
Pleased.
Yes, before we wrap it up, guys, we want to go over our upcoming guests that we have, which is crazy that it's going to be November. And wow. Okay, so next week we have our buddy AJ. He's the vocalist from Werewolves. And then the following Tuesday, we're welcoming back Maddie Riley and his buddy Matt Fuller from the band Puddle of Mud. We also have Clownvis, which we're very excited about. Clownvis. Yes, this is going to be a fun one. And then on the November 18th, we're welcoming Rob himself from Jackass and Viva La Bam. So we have a lot of cool stuff. And then Steve, we'll have to do this again because I just feel like you are seriously one of our favorites. You are always so wonderful and pleasant. And and hopefully one of these days in person. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's the goal.
We'll actually meet in person.
We'll be at the same con together one day.
Yes.
Let's do it. I'm into it. Or Broadway, anything.
Yeah, Broadway.
We'll take it all. Well, Steve, thank you so much.
All
Once
right,
again, October 31st. We'll see you guys real soon. Oh, wow.
Thanks for having me. Bye.